but the overall quality of life improved drastically. And then when you don't know when the next change is coming, it makes you feel deeply uncomfortable. Hello everyone, this is Vasif. I am here today to talk about the uncertainty of life. In this video, I'll be sharing my raw perspective about how to deal with the uncertainties in your life. When we talk about things like our work and our career and very serious things in life, we tend to be very static, or at least we want to be very static, because we feel the fear of change, and that change might introduce new things which will make you deal with things in a different way. And we tend to be this serious because we are actually fearing the change. For example, something changing in our work will require us to do some things and to stop doing some things that we have been doing. And because of this fear of change, our human mind is subconsciously trying to suppress the change and to avoid it and to not have to face the consequences of change. While we have come to the fact that change is the only constant in your life, let's see what uncertainty is. In very simple terms, uncertainty is the phenomenon of not knowing what's next and then not knowing what's next till your death. So I don't know what's going to happen in the next 5-10 seconds or in the next 5-10 minutes or in the next 5-10 days. And then I don't know what's going to happen after those 5-10 days. And then I don't know what's going to happen every day till the day of my death. So two things so far. A, that we have defined uncertainty as the fact of not knowing what's coming next. And B, that change is always going to be there and it's the only constant in life. So what is the link between uncertainty and change? Because we don't know what's going to happen next, it essentially means that there is a possibility that what's going to happen next is going to be the same continuation of the existing thing in the present, or it's going to be something completely different. But change might come in the next moment, in the moment next to that, or at any upcoming moment, right? So simply then uncertainty becomes the fact that we don't know when the next change is going to come. And because as human you have always faced changes, you know how uncomfortable changes in life are, and then when you don't know when the next change is coming, it makes you feel deeply uncomfortable. Now, if you don't have a very trained mind, you're going to struggle with this uncertainty and it's going to lead to your anxiety. And then you're going to get anxious, and then you're going to get more and more anxious because of it, and you'll keep getting anxious and anxious and anxious, and you'll start losing clarity. Before jumping on to what clarity is, let's just first look at the steps you need to take to conquer this uncertainty. Step 1. Accept the truth. It's not simply to say that you accept the truth. You have to first understand what this truth is. Truth is essentially the twofold fact that we came up to earlier, which is that change is coming and you don't know when this change is coming and how is it going to look like. This fundamental truth of existence in human life, you have to accept it and internalize it. And you have to control how you feel about it. You have to start becoming okay with it. Personally, with me, the day I started taking responsibility for my life and started accepting this truth and kept reminding myself this truth over and over again, my life changed. It became harder in some ways, but the overall quality of life improved drastically. But there's one problem here. This human mind, it tends to forget things. It will forget this fundamental truth time and time again, which will push you back to your anxious self. And then you're going to be like, accepting this truth doesn't work. Being okay with uncertainty doesn't work, because you're pulled back into your anxiety after some time. Here's where the step 2 comes in. Jump back to the truth. Because your brain is absolutely supposed to forget this truth time and time again, it is very important to put an effort to keep reminding yourself of this truth. So for example, if I'm currently sitting in this moment and I'm feeling anxious about things that are going to come into my life in the next few days, for example, some big change is pending, maybe at my job, I have to tell myself that there is no absolute way for me to know when the change is coming and how is it going to look like, but the truth is that it is going to come nonetheless. And all I can do is to mentally prepare myself for it and hope for the best. And I do that. I spend the next 2 days in this bliss, in this wonderful state where I don't feel anxious, I feel hopeful about stuff, and I am happy about things. And what unfolds is that the way I was hoping things to turn out, it did not happen that way. Things have not been in my favor. The change that I was expecting is now a bad change. Now this is gonna have a mental toll over me, and I'm going to lose sight of the truth, and I'm gonna start forgetting it. And I'll keep forgetting it and forgetting it and forgetting it to the point that now I'm in this anxious loop, and the next change that is going to come, I don't know when it's going to come, but I will be fearing it in my brain and I will keep getting anxious over it. So the second point essentially is that whenever you are forgetting or moving away from the truth, you have to put an effort to keep reminding yourself of it. Bad things happen, you don't negatively react to them, you take some time out and you sit down with yourself and you remind yourself the fundamental truth about uncertainty and the change in life. Now Now step 3, which is to maintain it. You have accepted the truth, and whenever you lose sight of the truth, you put an effort to remind yourself of it. But now the third step is to maintain it. Maintain the state of calm. It's more like guarding your truth. There is a whole lot of negativity out there which is running to snatch this truth away from you. And all you have to do now is to guard it. Keep it close to your heart, keep it close to your brain, and guard it with all your will. And the good news is, the more you keep reminding yourself this truth, the more you keep following the first 2 steps, the easier it is going to be for you to take more positive steps. You take 2 positive steps, taking the third positive step is now way easier. So the third step basically is to dedicate a decent amount of your efforts in maintaining the truth, which is essentially making sure that you keep following the step number 1 and step number 2, and whenever you lose sight, you get back to step 1, and then you do step 2, then you do step 1, then you do step 2. So you keep maintaining this loop. But as step 4, you need to be clear. Now that you are keeping closer to the truth, you keep reminding yourself of the truth, and you are able to maintain the truth, you will now start gaining clarity. Simply, clarity is when you are in the present moment, but you are able to think of the future as well. When usually we think of the future, we start getting anxious because of the idea of change and uncertainties of life. But being able to stay in the present moment, while also being able to plan for your future without letting it make you get anxious, is essentially clarity. And to be able to gain this clarity, you have to follow the previous 3 steps, and you will automatically start gaining more clarity. You'll be more calm, and when you're more calm, you'll be able to think clearly about stuff. So this step 4 is essentially not actually a step, it's more of a goal of this exercise. It's as simple as reminding yourself of the truth, accepting it, then re-reminding yourself of it, and then accepting it, and then re-reminding yourself of it, and then accepting it. And this loop is essentially maintaining it, and when you maintain it, you automatically gain clarity. Now you're able to think about stuff more clearly. You are able to think about your future without getting anxious. You are able to be in the present moment and enjoy the things in front of you. You're also present, and you're also planning for your future, which essentially means that now you are taking your short-term actions in light of your long-term goals, and that's what essentially clarity is. Now step 5, which is repeat. And you'll be like, this guy is sitting here, he's talking about so many simple things, and how is it possible that I would just be okay with the uncertainties of life just by accepting this little truth? Trust me, I've tried it and it works, and it's as simple as just accepting the truth of life. And once you accept the truths in your life, you are going to let go of a lot of anxiety and mental burden and pain, which you take and does not really add anything to your life. It just takes away things from you, your mind, and your mental space. Just keep repeating this process whenever you feel anxious about something. Whenever you feel anxious about something that's going to happen far into the future, sit down, tell yourself this fundamental truth, try to accept it. And now this is going to be a very superficial acceptance, and to be able to solidify into a more concrete acceptance, you will have to keep jumping back to this truth. You'll sit down, you'll keep reminding yourself of it every other day, or whenever you feel anxious. It could take months, days, or even seconds of repetition for you, and it will all depend on your individual circumstances. But you have to A, accept it, B, jump back to it, C, maintain it, D, be clear because of it, and E, repeat it. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button, drop a comment about your experiences or any future topic that you want me to talk about, and with that, I'll be back with more.